Just a heads up, if you get offended by a thin woman because she's thin, you're not happy with being fat. You genuinely think that'd be obvious to these people, but it isn't, because these people are bullies. They want to bully you for being healthy, they hate you for doing well, and they envy your overall well-being and happiness. They recognize that being fat is unhealthy, but the fact that you guys did the hard work to lose that weight pisses them off even more. How to cut carbs when you have diabetes: in half, in segments, in slices, in quarters, in a diagonal, and in wedges. You want to know how to cut your life in half? Continuing to not treat your diabetes. And treatment isn't just taking your daily insulin shots. It's going out of your way to change your diet so that you can prolong your life. But hey, I get it. It's nice being a slave to your desires, even though those very desires and inhibitions are slowly killing you. He created an international foray on the 9th of February 2012 when he called the singer Adele a little too fat. Adele responded that she is like the majority of women, and she is very proud of that fact. Yeah, like very proud. So proud that she intentionally changed her body to separate herself from us ugly fatties because she couldn't stand being associated with fat people. Do people forget just how big Adele was and how she actually supported fat activism and fat positivity? She was about that lifestyle just like you, until that very lifestyle almost killed her and gave her a wake-up call. The very wake-up call that you're trying to ignore by making it seem like it's some sort of personal slight against you that people want to lose weight. Other people's actions have no bearing on your person or character, but you're taking it personally because you don't want to carry the stigma of being an unhealthy, ugly person. Don't you think skinny people, and yes, I'm including skinny people who think they're mid-sized, understand how ridiculous they sound when they make up these fat activist boogeymen who are allegedly harassing them for eating fruit? Y'all realize that most fat people have spent our entire lives being harassed and criticized for eating food, especially in public, right? You realize that people feel entitled to approach random fat strangers in public and literally take our food away because they think we don't deserve it? People we don't even know will walk right up to us and slap the food right out of our hands, and the rest of the world thinks that they've done us a favor. And you think we'll turn around and harass someone else for what they're eating? Like, do you realize the scenario you've concocted is one of massive projection? It's embarrassing, and you should shut up, my man. Do you live in a cartoon? Who's coming up and slapping food out of your hands? Do you live in a high school drama? You're literally crafting straw men out of thin air with your imagination. Nobody is treating you like that. But I bet that's how you feel when people look at you and see the massive amount of food in front of you and your massive size. You are addicted to food, and like many other addicts, people look at you with disdain. Now let me be clear, there's a difference between going up to someone and talking to them about their health and being rude. Slapping food out of someone's mouth or hands is rude. Sitting down with a friend and telling them that being 400 pounds is devastating to their health isn't. And don't even get me started about how we're not bullying skinny people. Yes, you are. Anytime someone has the audacity to start an Instagram fitness page or talk about fitness on Twitter, talk about fitness on TikTok, you ugly pear-shaped will go into the comments and lambaste normal people about how you're some sort of oppressed minority. If you ever use the phrase glorifying obesity, I genuinely do not think you're a good person. If you can't look at another person in any context without their body type becoming your primary focus and invoking rage or disgust, you have serious issues. Like, I really need you to know that looking at another person and seeing only how much they weigh and then having a negative emotional response to that is a deranged thing to do. Reputation. It's always reputation with these people. They just want everybody to like them, even though they've done nothing to be likable. And these people genuinely believe that being skinny means everything is easier, when in reality, being skinny is the norm. That's why things seem easy for people like us and people who are actively losing weight. Life is easier for us only because we're the default body type, not you. Obesity is incongruent with how you're supposed to live as a human. It's impossible to do it well. And to most of normal society, that's obvious, but to these people, they genuinely believe that skinniness is the key to happiness, and they're pissed that their fat bodies bar them from that supposed privilege. It's actually pathetic to see these people beg online for kudos and likes because they feel cosmically slighted and they need some sort of, attractiveness equity. It makes no sense. How to make fat bodies unhealthy. Number 1, pathologize certain bodies based on weight. Number 2, subject these bodies to bias, stigma, and oppression. Number 3, prescribe restrictive diets that don't adequately nourish them and often result in disordered eating. Disordered eating? Are you serious? Obesity is the disordered eating. An addiction to food can kill you just as fast as restriction from food. Anorexia and obesity are two sides of the same f***ed up coin. Number 4, set off a harmful course of weight cycling. Weight cycling? You mean not sticking to a diet and then blaming everybody else except yourself? Number 5, have medical professionals shame the owners of these bodies for their weight, blame every ailment on their weight, and fail to make a visit accessible/comfortable, reducing the likelihood that they'll seek out future care. So you want a hug box when you go to the hospital. You don't want anyone to tell you that your choices have led to a shortened lifespan and bad joints. You want your doctor to affirm all of your feelings about your eating disorder instead of doing something about it. This entire post is a hug box. This entire post is just a giant cope for the fact that you don't want to change. And you're desperate that other people would change their perspectives of you because that would give you some sort of reprieve. Maybe, just maybe, if other people thought the same way I did, maybe I wouldn't feel so bad about myself. You go to sleep thinking that every night. Is that not lame? Is that not pathetic? This never should have been deleted. Like, I still can't believe it was. It wasn't implying that being fat is bad. It's implying that thinking you're fat when you're very thin is an issue. It's about body dysmorphia. I know, right? So much anorexia is based in fat phobia. That is not what they were trying to say, but I get it. You needed to say it for your mental. You have to do your affirmations to make sure that your asinine delusion is maintained. Motivations for anorexia aren't myopic. It isn't just because you don't want to be fat. It could be a lot of reasons. The most common reason is control. These people lack control and agency in their lives, so they struggle to find something that they can micromanage. And one of those things is your weight. Now, sure, they might want to look like a supermodel. They might want to just look fit, and that might be some sort of tangential reason, but the core issue that leads to anorexia is the lack of control and seeking to find control in something that is easy. One of those things being weight and what you eat. Obesity, on the other hand, usually finds its sources in depression, anxiety, and inadequacy. These people choose food as an outlet because food never talks back, food never bullies them, food tastes good, and food is home for them. They don't care that they're growing in size, they just care that in the moment that they feel sad, anxious, or inadequate, the Twinkie is there to make them feel okay. And what really pisses me off isn't the body type, it's you cave trolls going out of your way to share some stupid ideology that supports obesity for the sake of preserving someone's feelings. You want people to like you so bad that you're willing to accept a negative body type and encourage others not to lose weight so that you can drag others down with you. Misery loves company, and that's exactly why you don't encourage others to lose weight. Fat activism is malicious. It's terrible. It's self-serving, and it's only meant to bring people down. I'm muting all of the ultra-processed food discourse. It's so ableist, classist, and harmful for people with eating disorders. Is the modern food environment perfect? No, far from it, but stop sharing sensationalist things from linking food with morality. Also, most of the authors of these books and studies have a financial interest in this and aren't independent in any way. Health is a nuanced word, and demonizing labeling an entire food group as universally unhealthy is always going to cause harm. You concede and acknowledge that processed foods are unhealthy and ultra-processed food is even more unhealthy, but because those foods are associated with people who are overweight and obese, all of a sudden the conversation needs to be thrown out the window. Those people should be allowed to eat those foods because health is nuanced. Seriously, you have to change the definition of health in order for you to fit in nicely. It really is just astounding how much effort these people go into to not lose weight and to not better their lives. The amount of effort they put into trying to convince us, normal people, that their 400-pound bodies are somewhat normal and don't deserve criticism. It's just ridiculous, man. Fat phobia is also a sign of, oh my god, what? Children tend to be more slim with less of a figure. You should check yourself. You sound like you should be investigated. All right, so to all the ladies and men out there who are skinny or normal sized, you resemble a child, and therefore, if you are dating someone, you should probably report that person to the police. Them liking you as a skinny adult is evidence of them being a pervert, and you need to do your civic duty of sending them to the police. But in all seriousness, I love how they ignore the fact that there's such thing as fat children. So if you have a fat partner, does that mean you're a pervert too? Does that mean you're a creep too if you only date people who are thick or overweight? Because there's plenty of overweight children out there. You see how stupid you sound? You would be lying if you said the giant pumpkin in this photo isn't the coolest pumpkin out of all the smaller pumpkins pictured. People go to that pumpkin patch specifically to see such an awesome giant jack-o'-lantern. Sometimes you're the coolest and most admired friend in a group, and fat. Don't do the work of fat phobes for you by helping them tear yourself down. Burn the fat phobes with the candle inside of you that none of the other pumpkins get to have. Pumpkins are supposed to get big, you dumb. You're not supposed to be. A giant pumpkin is a healthy pumpkin. A giant human is a risk factor for cardiac arrest. Ugh, all of this sounds unappealing enough already, but what turns me off the most is just how desperate it seems. Face the facts. When you're already healthy and below average size, and you go to such absurd lengths just to winnow yourself down a little, you're actively trying to put as much distance between yourself and fat people as you possibly can. What does that say to fat people in your life? What does that say to people like me, who, no matter what they did, would still be on the heavier end of the spectrum? It tells us that part of you is disgusted by us. We are! You are the epitome of failure. Honestly, think for a second. How did you get there? How did you get to 200 pounds? How did that happen? You're the only person responsible for feeding yourself, yet you've gotten yourself to a point where you're dying, where food is killing you, and you have the audacity to say that my lifestyle is unappealing? I'm normal. You're not. All of us who are going out of our way to kill it in the gym are normal. You're sitting at home on the couch crying about how no one likes you for things that you've done to yourself. Get a grip. The world doesn't owe you recognition and affirmation for your bad decision making. Seriously, you will go out of your way to make a paragraph begging the world to look at you differently when you could have put the same effort into actually being different and living a better life. Hey everyone, do you consider the gym to be inherently a fat-phobic place? Not inherently. Gyms are just spaces of movement and exercise. Both good, great things. But they're super inaccessible for a number of reasons. Most of the reasons people go is work things off and make sure they don't get fat. And it's super unsafe to go as a fat person. What are you talking about, unsafe? If anybody sees you go into the gym, everybody there is clapping you up. They're seeing the change happen live in front of them. I think what you mean to say is that the stigma follows you into there. And that's unfortunate. Yes, people are gonna look at you as an unhealthy, overweight person and will append the stigma and negativity to that body type. And you can't outrun that until you lose weight. If you are still concerned with the perceptions of others while you're trying to look better, you're not going to get far. You're going to have to drop the fact that people don't like the way that you look and try to work out for yourself. Two things can be true. All fat loss comes from caloric deficit, but helping people sustain caloric deficit is challenging for a number of complex psychological and socioeconomic factors. That is true. Not everybody can afford a gym membership, and not everybody is mentally prepared to start that journey. If you're still working through your depression, anxiety, and feelings of inadequacy, it's going to be very difficult to maintain a diet and maintain a physical fitness routine. That's why if you truly are trying to change your life and lose some weight, find a friend who you can confide in and maybe even lean on times where you might have messed up your diet or forgot to do your jog or your push-ups or your sit-ups. It's not an easy process to undo years of bad decision making, but that isn't an excuse to remain fat, to remain unhealthy. You're going to have to put in some hard work, more hard work than a normal person, but I promise you, homie, it's worth it. It is so worth it. Did you know you can lose weight without becoming a weight loss page? Seriously, did you know that you could be fat and also not share your thoughts on Twitter? You could be quietly fat and sad. You don't have to share your nihilism with us every day on a platform where nobody cares to read it. You see how that's rude? You see how that might be a little bit mean-spirited, that statement? Maybe people want to share their weight loss journey because it's difficult and something worthwhile to them. And let's be honest, the only reason why you don't like weight loss pages isn't because of the fitness. It's because of the happiness. You envy the fact that these people can smile doing something that you think is impossible. Oh my god, I'm actually begging thin people to make fat characters. You have so much power to normalize fatness by simply not making every one of your OCs thin, whether it's thin and dainty or thin and muscular. More specifically, I want to see characters who are fat and are quick and quiet and have high dexterity. Characters who are large and burly and something other than a brute force melee class. Make fat elves, and no one wants to see that. Nobody wants to see it. That's why you beg the world for representation, but what you misunderstand is that the world doesn't want to put up with you. Who wants to see ugliness on a screen? Who wants to lean into a video game or try to escape reality in a TV show and see depravity and sadness and unhealthiness on the screen? What you guys fundamentally misunderstand about your lack of representation is that it's not purposeful. It's simply the natural order of things. Some stuff is just disgusting. Some stuff is just disturbing, and most people don't want to see it. Confused about how weight stigma creates poor health outcomes? I've been putting off care for a health concern because I don't want to get lectured about my weight. Now the health issue is worse and I need to be seen. Quick story time. Earlier this year, late February, I had to go to the emergency room because a portion of my body just chose to stop functioning. And whilst I was in extreme pain in the ambulance, going to the hospital, before I laid down, the first thing they did was weigh me. You want to know why they did that? They wanted my weight because the doctor needed to determine how much Dilaudid they have to give me in order to treat my pain and also not kill me. Because most prescription drugs need to be dosed. And how do you get the proper dose? You need to weigh the person first. God forbid the doctor was feeling sensitive about my feelings and didn't weigh me and then gave me too much Dilaudid and I didn't wake up. There are multiple different reasons why you would be weighed at the doctor's office. It isn't to make fun of you. It isn't to make you feel gross or ugly. It's to give you the best care possible. And you're ignoring that because you know intimately that your body is unhealthy and you just don't want to hear it. Now, this clip I'm about to show you is pretty sad. This woman is talking about her experience on TikTok and the type of videos that she sees and how she feels about her body after watching these videos. I'm going to play the clip in its entirety and then we're going to talk about it.
Your body, which just be happy in your new body. Go off and be happy in your new body. We stop shitting on your old fat self. That wasn't a stupid person that you slapped and got into gear. That was a human being. I'm a human being. And you shouldn't have to shrink your body to value. And it's like, please stop advertising to me. Please get off my For You page. Look, like, there's enough space for that. I don't want it. How many times do you have to report and say not interested to your transformation videos to be left alone in my recovery?
One statement that this woman says in her video that really covers her entire perspective is that she's a human being, I'm a human being, and she feels dehumanized when people share transformation videos on TikTok, you know, showing how they were giant and fat, and now they're healthy and skinny. And that makes her feel disgusting, that makes her feel inhuman. I would say this video describes the mentality of every fat activist. Behind all of the politics, platitudes, conventions, get-togethers, communities, behind all of that is this desperate need to not be reminded that they destroyed themselves, that something in their brain encouraged them to continue to eat, and now they're at the point of no return, and they don't want to be reminded of that. You going to the gym is the biggest offense to them because you are proving to them daily that they could get better, but for whatever reason, something psychologically is blocking them from doing that. For whatever reason, they're just not motivated to lose weight. So what do? They try to justify the weight. They try to justify being fat. They go out of their way to say that they are beautiful, that they are healthy, that they are desirable. It has to be that way because otherwise they would have to accept the gruesome reality that the only reason why they feel ugly, they are unhealthy, and they are miserable is because of decisions that they've made. When you lose weight and talk about how your fat self was unhealthy and miserable, she sees herself and she takes it as a personal slight because she related to your past self. She related to your fat self. And when you say negative things, it's almost like you're saying negative things about her. So the only way that she can combat that is by ignoring all of it and sitting in her delusion that, yes, my body is healthy. Yes, I am beautiful. Yes, I am desirable. I am not miserable. I didn't do this to myself. This is systemic. And the list goes on. I don't know what she's recovering from. but I hope she gets through it because she sounds miserable. She sounds desperate for a reprieve. She wants to feel good about her body, yet TikTok won't leave her alone. She sounds like every person who liked this post. Stop complimenting weight loss, because that's the gist. That's the crux of this entire argument, this entire movement. They are all terrified of people who are capable of weight loss. They're all concerned and pissed off that people are able to change their bodies because it's the antithesis to their very existence, and it's daily proof that maybe, just maybe, they could save themselves. And the only thing holding them back was their own willpower. And that's got to be devastating to realize. That's got to be devastating to deal with. The fact that the only thing stopping these people from being better is themselves. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ailurus, aka Panda Daddy, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did, let me know in the comments down below and leave a like if you liked the video. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, fam. What you doing watching videos and not subscribing? And if you're old, make sure you hit that bell so you get these notifications every time. I'm sure many of you guys are aware of what's going on Reddit, and don't be worried, there will still be content on here until that is all sorted out. But just in case your favorite subreddits are still a little bit compromised during this protest, I will be creating more morbid reality content on this channel. A lot of you guys like that type of dark history content, so it'll be the content to take the place of Reddit for the meantime. That is the plan B, though. That is not the current situation. You will still get your normal Reddit content that you've been getting since the beginning of time. Just letting you know that there will be a change to the channel if that has to happen. And as always, we gotta thank the Patreon supporters that make content like this possible. So a big thanks to Power Lover, Christian Spates, The Quaking Aspen, Sherry Morrison, Tron Destroy 23, The Eggs 1, Fitz Chivalry, Din Corda, Code Connor Purvis, Ailurus's Mom, Declan, S16, Squish, Rinhex, Rare Days, Mr. Bean, My Golden Experience, James Tucker, Big Boy Bailey, BMX30, Cinnamon Sticks, Scott, The Fake Musician, Buckethead, Samantha Bellhart, Admin Faneker, Zach F, Bloody Hunter, Keely, Dunder Nass Hawk, Lady Laughs a Lot, Swiss Patreon user, Noah, and Catherine Taylor. Thank you so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. And if you want to help support the channel, there's 2 links in the description, one of my merch store and one of my Patreon. Both funds go directly into the channel so we can maintain what's happening here. And as always, stay zesty.